Hello people, it's me TFR Wilderness and yeah, review time, KTRT, yeah, let's get on with it. Less than a week to go to TF Nation, so yeah, it's it's coming. Very much looking forward to going. But first of the figures that KTRT figures that I bought this month, because that's just the thing that I do, has arrived and I wanted to review it. So let's put a review out. Yeah, so today I am going to be doing the review on a figure from a Korean toy line that I've not really bothered with in the past. I have bought one figure from like an earlier season for this show, but this year they've released, it's effectively season 3 of this show, but they've repackaged it, rebadged it, they've changed the aesthetic on all the bots and the characters, and they're going all out, great guns and really making a go of it this time. So they've brought out some new mechs and they look pretty cool, and I've decided to buy into them, especially because these guys, the 4 mechs from this series, combine into a combiner, and the new combiner looks really awesome, and I want to get the combiner, and that's why I've decided to buy into this. So the subject of today's review is this gal. This is Miniforce X Lucybot. Now, as you can see, it's a pink car. Obviously, before we go any further, let's have a quick look at the box. So here is the box. Now, you can see, obviously, Miniforce X logo, Lucybot here, and then you've got on the side there, you've got a picture of Lucy's, because I don't know whether you know Miniforce. Miniforce is kind of like a rip-off of Power Rangers, so to speak. You get these little sort of woodland creature type things who live in a house with a girl, and then when in the emergency calls, there's this like Thunderbirds type thing where they go into a chute and they go through into a secret base where they've got their boss, who kind of looks like, I think he looks like Captain Barnacles from Octonauts. He looks like, he looks like a sort of like a serious version of Captain Barnacles from Octonauts. Anyway, so they can also transform into these Power Ranger type characters, and they have the full-on suit, and that's Lucy's sort of head, but it's also the head of the mech. So look around the box, and there you see the car mode, and then you've got Miniforce X logo on the top and stuff underneath. Now, yeah, I'm not going to show that just yet. Before we go any further, the previous Miniforce toys were made by Sono Kong. Now, Sono Kong is one of the biggest toy companies in Korea. They're like level pegging, I suppose, with Young Toys, who is the biggest toy company. They did all the toys for the previous 2 seasons of Miniforce, but now you've got Miniforce X has come out. They seem to have gone their own way. The show makers have they're either making the toys themselves, or they're they're charged some other company to do them, because when you look on the bottom of the box, there's no Sono Kong labels on here at all. Instead, we've got something that says the Gaia Corporation. Don't know who that is. You've got a Samji logo, which is the company that does the show, and then underneath it says Miniforce X, copyright Samji, EBS Heng Sheng. So yeah, I don't know exactly who makes this, but it's not Sono Kong. And as this is a new toy from a company who probably haven't got much experience of making sort of plastic robotic transforming toys, it shows in the engineering on this character and the articulation. But yeah, quick look at the box. Now, obviously, this is Lucybot in car mode. It's a good looking alt mode. It's a nice looking car. It's it's got nice smooth aerodynamic front end. It's got these big vents on the top, kind of like a Lamborghini Countach. Going down the side, it's got these painted stripes on the front. Down the side, it's got black wheels with like an alloy design. You can kind of see there's like a brake disc in there, though it's not detailed. It's got like a big black grille at the front. It's got some silver details there. It's got red painted headlights. You go around onto the back, you've got the red tail lights. You've got some more sort of grille detail, some silver bits, some white bits. It's a decent looking car. Now, yeah, it rattles. That's mostly the wheels. The wheels are quite large. They do roll extremely well. And then underneath you've got, you know, sort of scrunched up robot bits. It rolls. It's big. It's reasonably heavy. It's decent looking car mode. Now, transformation. Now this thing transforms very easily. It's very easy, simple to transform, and it does have some parts forming. Now, the previous figure I've got from the previous series of Miniforce is I've got Miniforce Voltbot from the original series. I wanted to get one figure. I was going to go for Lucybot or Maxbot, but I decided to go for Voltbot. This guy has some parts forming. You know, you've got these pieces that come off his shoulders, and he's got this chest piece that comes off that forms the spoiler on his car mode. He's a decent looking bot made by Sono Kong, and he's got, you know, he's got universal hips that do everything. He's actually got, you know, biceps. He's got thigh swivels. He's got elbows that more or less go to 90 degrees. You know, it's a very well made toy. This thing has got engineering on it to do 2 gestalts, a 2-bot gestalt and a 4-bot gestalt, so it's got combiner engineering in it, so it's a little bit compromised in bot mode. The aesthetics a bit unusual, especially on the car mode, but I just bought it as an example of a toy from the line, so I've got him. Now, Lucybot here is, you know, next generation toy from this series. Now, a quick size comparison. I've got the cab unit from my G1 Ultra Magnus, which I haven't dismantled yet because I haven't started the restoration on it, but there we go, just to give you an idea of how big this thing is. So there we go. Now, like I said, transformation on this thing is very simple, and it does have parts forming. The parts forming is the form of these black things. Now, you pull them off and just keep them to one side for a moment, and we'll put them onto the finished robot. So then you get this kind of smoother looking car. You can take them off. It looks a lot smoother. Transformation is very simple. Get the front and the rear of the car, and then you pull that out. Then come up like this. Split them. Then you've got the upper torso. There's a hinge here, so you angle it forwards like so. Then you pull the shoulder joints out, bring them forwards, and then you've got the transformation on the arm. Unpeg this bit, fold it out, fold that round, and then pull out the fist. And do the same on the other side. Pull that out, pull that round, pull that down, pull out the fist, and that is that. And then you've got your parts forming feet. Make sure you get them on the right way. So you have the white bit going to the back, and there's a peg in the bottom here. That just plugs in like that, and then that just plugs in like that, and that's, yeah, I've got them on the right way. And that gives you that. And then finally, the head. Pop. And there's the head sculpt. And there we have Lucybot in robot mode. And again, the aesthetic's nice. It looks good. And that's part of the reason why I went for this set, or I'm going for this set, because they've totally restyled them. The aesthetic on these new toys is much better than, I think, than the aesthetic on the old toys. Obviously, there's a comparison with Voltbot. And as you can see, it's slightly taller. Weight-wise, it's about even Stevens. If anything, I'd say this is slightly heavier. But again, it does rattle. It does have some looseness about it. Now, it looks nice, but when you get into the articulation, it shows the engineering on this thing is a little lackluster, a little wanting. So starting with the head does not move, right? Now, there's a lot of KTRT bots I've got where they have static heads. It's quite common, especially on tow bots, you know, Young Toys figures, Geomecha characters, they have fixed heads, so that's not a surprise. And the head sculpt is rather nice. It's very much similar to that there, it's very similar to the head sculpt on the Power Ranger character and that, so it looks good. Shoulders, right, they're on these joints here, kind of loose. They go all the way around on a very sort of loose, wobbly ratchet. Now, the arms, elbows, it's got double jointed elbows, and each of the joints has a ratchet. So you've got the lower joint, it's got 2 clicks, 45 degrees, 90 degrees, and then you've got that. Then below it, you've got the other one. 1, 2, 3 clicks to 90 degrees and down. So the pair of them, you can get a decent curl, so that's good. No bicep swivel, okay. Nothing at the waist, though, because of the transformation, you can, if you wanted to, get, you know, sort of like a slight arch backwards, but that's neither here nor there. Now, where this figure really falls down is on the hips. The lower leg articulation is not very good. Now, if you look here at the side, you can see they've got a very wide, very long sort of hip, and then there's not much clearance to the underside of the waist. And then that's as far forward as it goes, and that's as far back. That's all the motion you've got on the hips. See? That's rubbish. That is absolutely rubbish. I mean, you look at this guy, right? It's got the full 180 degree sweep on the hips and a nice ratchet. This friction joint, a little bit of movement. If they'd have rounded the top of this hip up, you would have been able to get full motion, but no. So yeah, bit disappointing there. Now, the other thing, when I was looking at this figure in the box, I was looking at the legs and thinking, that thing hasn't got any knees. It was not obvious how the knees work. I mean, you look at it, you look round, and you can see it's just black plastic going into the pink plastic. It's just a square tube going into a block. I mean, yeah, it's got that, the sliding mechanism for the transformation. So I thought, where's the elbow? Well, no, where's the knees? Where's the knees on this thing? Well, it has got a knee. It's got a knee here, but it's not very good. It only goes to 45 degrees because it's got like a cutout here which goes to 45 degrees. It's just a friction joint. Now, if they'd have cut out a notch in the back here and rounded the side of this up, they could easily have got the knees to go to 90 degrees. Now, I could modify that. I could do a custom on it and modify it and give it 90 degrees on the knees. But I mean, so many KTRTs I've bought lately have, you know, restricted articulation on their limbs, and it's obvious that with a little bit of articulation, you know, a little bit of, you know, modification, you can improve the articulation no end. But anyway, so yeah, legs are very disappointed. No biceps, no thigh swivels. I mean, this guy's got thigh swivels, but no thigh swivels on this. And then we get down to the feet. The feet are fixed, but they are cut at an angle, so you can get a neutral A stance. Now, there is an ankle tilt on these. Now, it's part of the transformation for the gestalt mode, but it's part of the... they go the wrong way. They tilt the wrong way. So, so there it is. Now, there's another thing with this character, this toy. Another disappointing thing. When you're pulling these things out, if you're not careful, you can pull the whole figure in 2 pieces like that, right? Now, this is part of the gestalt transformation, but it doesn't take much to pull it apart. And the reason being, if you look on the inside here, you've got one port there and one port there. There's only 2 small pegs holding this entire thing together. Now, I think they could easily have done, I mean, when you put it together, when you pull it, you can see it starts splitting at the front before it splits apart. So if they'd have put another peg in at the front, it might have held together a lot better. Maybe put an extra one up here or an extra one down here. So again, oversight on the engineering, they could have secured that a bit better. So yeah, there is that. I mean, it's a good looking bot. It's decent. I like the aesthetic, but just let down by lack of engineering or articulation, as as you've seen on KTRTs, but they could have done more. I think if Sono Kong had done this, it would have been better quality. That it would have had fully articulated hips. It would have had prop knees that went to 90 degrees. It probably would have even had thigh swivels. That's Sono Kong, but this wasn't made by Sono Kong, and it shows. They've cut corners on the engineering and the articulation just to make a toy that looks good in a static robot mode, but doesn't do anything else. But this thing does do something else. It combines. Now you're better off taking it back to car mode. So you take the feet off, clip that together. The arms, fold that down, fold that up, fold that in, collapse that up. So you go and like that. Then you go back to car mode and you get your put your things back on. So to do the combiner limbs, you get it back into car mode and you do this. You pull it apart like that. So this forms one of the arms for the gestalt. So then you pull that out. Got this thing at the bottom, there's the gestalt fist, and then you have the combiner peg, and there you have one combiner limb. You do it on the other side, pull that out, flip that round, flip that out, and there's combiner limb. So there's the two arms for the combiner. Now, speaking of the combiner, there it is, or there's an illustration of it, a CGI render of it. Now, when I saw that, I thought, oh yes, I want some of that. It just looks amazing. I don't think it's going to be quite as articulated as that. I mean, look at the thigh swivels, the angle, the arms, the legs are splaying out. It looks nice. You've got Maxbot forms like the legs and the waist. Lucybot forms the arms, and then you've got Semibot. And now this guy was called Voltbot. Now in the news show he seems to be called Boltbot. Now I'm not quite sure about the name of him. Is it Bolt or is it Bolt? Now he has got like a lightning symbol as part of his motif, so it's probably Bolt, but it's all down to the way the Koreans pronounce certain words. It sounds slightly different to what it would be if, let's say, it was being said in English. So I don't know whether that's where the confusion comes from. So yeah, I love the look of this combiner, and I've decided I'm going to go for it. When these figures first came out, a couple of weeks, well, they've not been out that long. They've only been out less than a month or so. They were about 75 quid, which is way too much. So I was reluctant to get into them, but just lately they've gone down to about just over 60 quid, and I'm kind of willing to go to buy them at that price. When you times that 60 quid by 4 to get the gestalt, you're talking 240 quid to get that, 250 quid to get that bot. It's a lot of money, but I'm gonna go for it, and I've decided over the coming months I'm going to be buying the remainder of the Miniforce X figures and doing reviews on them as and when I get them. So let's just put this thing back together quickly. Like I said, this thing's very easy to work with. It's very easy to transport. I mean to get it to robot mode, it's very easy. So yeah, it's very easy to work with, but very simplistic at the same time. Just before we go, again, quick size comparison with Combiner Wars Leader Mechs, who's my go-to size comparison, and obviously I might as well do a size comparison with Voltbot from the original line if I haven't done it already. So yeah, that is my review of this figure, Miniforce X Lucybot. She's okay, but vehicle mode's not bad, robot mode's not bad, but when you get into it, the articulation is very restricted on this thing. Needlessly so. I think they could have spent a little bit more time looking at the design of this thing, giving it a little bit more articulation. And yeah, I know it's also got the extra gimmick where it forms part of a combiner. The combiner gimmick's very simplistic, but a little bit more effort, a little bit in the design might have made for a much better toy. But as I said, I don't know who makes this particularly. It's not Sono Kong, and it shows. If Sono Kong had made this, I think this would have been a better toy. But there we go. There's my review of Lucybot. So that's been me, TFR Wilderness, reviewing another piece of junk from Korea. I've got another bot coming in, a proper Transformer bot this time. It's not a Korean thing that I'm planning on doing a review on if it arrives before TF Nation. Obviously, there's a good chance it'll arrive next week. So fingers crossed for that. Apart from that, I have got another KTRT bot inbound. Again, if it arrives before TF Nation, I'll do a review on it. But I'm not going to be doing any other, videos for TF Nation. I'm not going to be doing any of these question and answer videos that are doing the rounds. I think I've said all I'm going to say as regards to my plans for TF Nation. I just don't want to give too much away. I'll just let the convention unfold as it will when I come to it on next week. So, yeah, I've been TFR Wilderness, and I'll see you around next time. Ta-da.